Okay. Right. Okay, let's come and stand up, please, for today. All right, so come and stand just somewhere, anywhere in the middle of your mat, just making sure that you can see the screen. And we'll do a gentle joint-based warm-up before we get going this morning. So take one foot behind the other and just gently roll onto the top of your toes. It's your heel which is drawing a circle. So if you imagine your heel going in circular motions, and just gently pressing onto the top of the feet, so the feet are allowed to flex forwards. Okay, and then go the other way and do some circles that way. And so this is this little joint relieving sequence is wonderful for practicing in the morning. And it just allows you to stand. It allows your joints, your ligaments in particular, to become strong again. So swap feet, take the other one behind, because what happens at night time when we're asleep or when we're very sedentary, even just half an hour of being sedentary, so sitting on a sofa watching a film, for instance, causes the ligaments to go soft, and they stop supporting you in a strong way. And go the other way. So when we wake up in the morning, if we were to leap onto our yoga mat and to take quite strong stretches, particularly forward folds, the pelvis, the sacroiliac region, perhaps the spine, is not really as strong and as supportive as it could be. So come back to your feet being together, please. Big toes together, outside edges of the feet parallel, bending the knees and thinking about your knees now doing a circle. And I want you to look down at your feet. And I don't want you to really grip the mat too hard with the toes, but I do want you to look down at your ankles, look down at your feet, and enjoy watching how they're holding you steady. Okay, and then go the other way. And so this whole joint mobility sequence can be practiced on its own, just as a morning routine. It could take you about 10 or 15 minutes, and it's just a nice start for the day. All right, and then come up to stand just for a moment. I want you to squeeze the inner thighs towards one another. Send the front of the hip bones forwards and lift your heart up. Let your arms open out wide to the side and just find a bit of space along the front body. Keep your tailbone pointing towards your heels, please. So don't let your lower back curl too much. And then come back. It's a very mild back bend, but just encouraging a little bit of stretch through the front body. Back to the knees, hands just above the knees, so feet together. This time the knees stay still and it's just the hips that are moving. So I want you to isolate the hip movement into your drawing a circle with your tailbone into the air behind you. So the hips are coming quite far out to the sides. You can feel quite a lot of movement into the sides of the waist, as well perhaps across the back of the hips, as well into the lower abdomen. Okay, so if you don't remember anything else from this joint warm-up, then this is the one I want you to remember. Okay, this is the one I want you to tap into, because this has such a great supportive and strengthening function for the pelvic floor and for the postural muscles of the legs and the lower back. Okay, let's come up to stand. Just briefly release it out for a moment. That can leave you feeling a bit tired doing that, so don't worry if it did. Also remember which way your circles went, because you're going to come back into that same position and now you're going the other way. Okay, just thinking about little tilts and tucks for the pelvis, as well as the circular side to side movements. All right. And then gently come back up to stand, and maybe just give your legs a little bit of a shake out. Good. Okay. Link your fingers together in front of you, bring your elbows together, and rolling your wrists in a circle. Can you pump your forearms up and down? Okay. So the wrists are going to be lubricated here, particularly important, partly because we weight bear, we take our hands onto the floor an awful lot, but also because we need to have nice strong wrists. We want to be able to support our own body weight. Okay, swing it out. Change the cross of your fingers and go the other way. That's nice. Good job. And swing it out again. Okay, so we'll do the arm circles. I'll stay facing sideways so you can see. So I want one arm to go in a backwards crawl. And I'd like you to let that happen easily without you having to think about it. So the other arm can go in a front crawl. So all you want to think about is the movement of the other arm. If you need to just do one arm at a time, that's okay. By moving the arms in these opposite circles, this opposite direction, we're actually really getting the brain fired up. We're waking up the neural pathways and working both hemispheres of the brain. Okay, and release. Just swing from side to side a little bit, just gently. Make sure you've got some space and you're not going to bang your hands onto the furniture or wall or anything. Good, let your head turn. That's great. And then slow it down. Go the other side this time. So the other arm is going to go in a backwards circle. And get it so that that happens without you having to think about it, so that the other arm can go forwards. So one arm is going backwards, one arm's going forwards. There's a little bit of movement into the torso, the waist. Good job. And then slow it down and just swing from side to side again. So notice I've got a bit of distance between my feet. I want your knees to gently bend a little bit, and you can turn to look over your shoulders and let your hands gently tap you on the sides of your rib cage or your waist. Really experiment with the speed that you're going. So it's fine to go slowly, but it's also great to go fast. So you have a little bit of a play. Another thing to play around with is the height that your arms lift. So it's quite nice to lift the arms up super high and just see how that feels. How does it make your energy levels feel? Okay. Good. And then let's slow it down. Just gradually coming to a stop, not in any hurry. And then closing your eyes. Encourage your shoulders to move backwards and down the back of your body slightly. So you're not forcing this, but there is a sense that the chest is a little bit more open. Imagine that you have some string and it's attached to the tip of your middle finger on each hand. And at the end of the string is some weight, and it's gently lengthening the arms downwards towards the ground. Conversely, at the top of your head, feel light, as though your head wants to lift up longer, lengthening into the spine. And there's a sense that the feet start to feel different against the ground. Maybe you're pressing into the floor differently, fingertips still reaching down as though there's a heavy weight on them, crown of the head is still lifting up, feet still feel strong against the floor. Keep breathing. Wait for an exhalation. When your next exhale comes, let your chin fall towards your chest, breathing out. As you breathe in, gently sweep your chin across towards one shoulder. Keep the arms heavy, weights in the fingers. Breathe out and come back to the center with the chin, keeping the chin close to the chest. As you breathe in, take the chin across towards the other shoulder. And as you breathe out, bring it back to the center. Go side to side again, breathing out, and just easing any tension out from the neck or the shoulders that you can find. Come over to the other shoulder. Good. And then back to the center. Lifting the nose up and then lifting the nose a little bit higher. Not dropping the head back too far, but just lifting the chin now and feeling a bit of space increasing along the throat. All right, and then bring your head back level. Maybe your eyes are still closed. Maybe you want to close them now. If it affects your balance to have your eyes closed, however, please just remain with them open. Some people feel comfortable closing their eyes. Some people don't. Most yoga practices will tell you to keep your eyes closed. Oh, sorry, open. Okay. So now what I'd like you to do is to drop your chin towards your chest and to take your hands behind your back. Link your fingers. Lengthen your arms down towards your tailbone. Tuck your tailbone downwards, so point it towards your heels, and then puff your chest out, okay? So you don't have to lift your hands away from the back body, but do keep your chest towards your chin. Puff up your chest, press the back of your heart into the front of your heart, opening up the front rib cage. Good, and then with the knees nice and bent, start to fold forward, so you can keep that puffed out chest feel. You can keep your chin towards your chest. You can release your hands away from the back of your body if it's too strong for your shoulders to have your hands here. Just release them down towards the floor. Drop the chin a little bit closer to the chest. Let the top of the head now be heavy. Maybe lift the arms away from the back body. Keep the knees soft, but press into the heels and feel a little bit of lift through the sit bones. And then with control, with strong legs, breathe in, keep chin to chest, puff the chest up as you lift back up to the ceiling, tailbone pointing down, front of the chest lifting up, chin to chest, arms long towards the ground if you can. Breathe in. As you breathe out, bending the knees, tilting at the hips, finding yourself folding forwards, back down, all the way. Let the tummy rest on the thighs. Keep the chin close to the chest, lengthen the arms. And then gently come back up, breathing in, strong legs. Very nice. Release the hands. Take them wide, up above the top of your head and reach up. Reach up, spread the fingertips, open the palms up, have the palms facing each other. Take another breath in here, reach all the way up. And then as though you've got cactus arms, breathe out, bring the elbows out wide to the sides and puff the chest forwards again. Breathe in, reach the hands all the way up to the ceiling. Breathe out, gently bend the elbows, take the elbows back, puff the chest, tailbone points down. Breathe in, come all the way up again, reaching up. Breathe out, bring hands to heart, please. And pause, maybe with your eyes closed. Relax the shoulders. Breathe with ease. So before we get our practice flowing a little bit more, just give yourself a little bit of thanks for being here today, a little bit of gratitude, and send that gratitude out into the world and think about things that you are grateful for this morning. Remember, when we start our day with our yoga practice, it informs the rest of the day. So what you do now over the next hour or so will help with your decision making, with your mood, your energy levels. And so we want this experience on our mat to be really positive. If you feel that you need to modify or rest anything that we are doing, then please do. Okay. And then let's take a gentle inhalation. Inhale, lift the hands up towards the ceiling. Good. Separate the hands. Hold on to the right wrist, please. And as you exhale, gently side bend across to the left. Go at your own pace. Breathe in, come back up. Swap hands, right hand to left wrist. Gently lean to the right, stretching the left side of the body. Breathe in again. If you need to rest the arms down by the sides, do so. You could put the hands on the hips as a modification. One more stretch to each side. Breathing out, go a little bit deeper this time. Breathe in, come up. Breathe out across to the other side. Feet nice and strong, feeling grounded, feeling firm. Come back up to the center, reach the hands up, and then bring the hands down as you breathe out, bending the knees and starting to tilt the pelvis forwards. Just a gentle soft forward fold as you allow the hands to release, the chin to come towards the chest. And you just pause here for a moment, take a breath, maybe wiggle the hips, maybe bend one knee, a little dance. Don't be too formal with your practice, be playful, still finding spaces, still waking up the body. We're going to come back up to stand, so wait for a breath in, hands come to the heart, soft knees throughout, breathing in, hands lift. Good, and then bring the hands back down to the heart and then out wide to the side. Imagine those weights are on the fingertips again as you gently lengthen the arms, but keep the chin in, back of the neck long, top of the head light. Press into the soles of the feet. Okay, so let's go again. Let's breathe in. Hands come together and all the way up to the sky. Reach up. Breathe out. Gently bend the knees and start to fold all of the way down to the ground. You can bring the chin towards the chest. Start to lift the sit bones a little bit more. See if you can find more openness. Put the hands on the shins just underneath the knees. Breathe in. Look forwards towards the top of the mat. Keep lifting up the sit bones, hollowing out the lower back if you can. Bend the knees again, folding all of the way down to the ground. Chin comes towards the chest. And then up to stand, breathe in, travel the arms up the front body, or you can swan dive up to the sky. That means arms coming out wide if you prefer. Hands to heart, breathe out. Okay, just press the pause button for the moment. And then if you're not already at the top of your mat, you might want to adjust your position so that you can be, please. So we're going to start to step backwards into some sun salutes. Okay, so come back to Anjali Mudra, that's hands together in front of the heart. Take a breath in when you're ready and come up to stand. Up, arms up. Breathe out, gently fold all of the way down. Uttanasana, head hanging, sit bones lifting. Hands to shins, breathe in, halfway lift. As you breathe out, bring the hands to the floor and step back to your first downward dog of the morning. So keep it quite long, keep it quite soft, maybe have a little pedal. And really importantly, just start to put more space into the sides of the body. So again, don't be too formal in your practice. Be playful, be experimental, just see what movements feel really delicious in your body as you start to wake it up and put spaces in. All right, so let's float your knees down now onto the floor. Good job. Keep the toes tucked under as you breathe in. Come into a cow pose. And then as you breathe out, untuck the toes, lift the front of the body. So it's really squeeze the core muscles. Tuck the toes under, breathe in, and we'll do a couple more rounds of this with your breath. Breathing out, untucking the toes. Pressing the tops of the feet into the floor as you lift the navel. And then again, breathing in. Good. Keep the toes tucked under. Take the bottom backwards towards the heels. Lift both knees off of the floor. Just pause here. Hold this here. Think about your hand position. Make sure they're not too wide apart, okay? We make a bit of a mistake thinking our shoulders are broader than they are. Press firmly into the floor, through the top of the palms. Press the knuckles into the ground. Lengthen the arms, extending the arms, letting the head hang between the upper arm bones. Lifting the sit bones and opening up the back of the legs, keeping the navel drawn in towards the body. And then looking forwards, floating the shoulders forwards just a little bit, and then walking your feet up closer to your hands. Halfway lift when you get there, and then folding down towards your front legs as you breathe out. Come up to stand as you breathe in, hands traveling up above the head. Good, and hands to heart. Press that pause button, breathe, shoulders relax. How are you feeling now? Don't stop ever checking in, okay? Making sure if you need to modify what you're doing, it is absolutely fine too. Breathe in, hands come up, reach up. Exhale down to the ground again, folding forwards. Halfway lift, breathing in. Keep the breath flowing, keep it nice and smooth and steady. Folding down, hands come to the floor. This time we're going to step back into a plank position. So high plank, shoulders over the wrists, body nice and firm, nice and long, heels pressing back, a nice long straight arms. We're going to lower down onto the knees, or if you want to, you can come straight down onto the tummy. So we're going to come to lay on our front. So I don't mind how you get down, but lower yourself down to the ground. So put your hands maybe slightly further forwards if you need to, and separate your feet if you need to as well. Take a breath in and come up into Bhujangasana, Cobra pose. So that means elbows stay soft, stay bent, and in towards the sides of the rib cage. Lift the chest up and imagine that you're taking the breastbone forwards. Gently come down as you breathe out. Okay, so with all of those things in mind, now think about the legs. Breathe in, lift up, elbows in, chest forwards, but firm the legs, squeeze the glutes, squeeze the hamstrings. See if you can get higher. Breathe out, coming down. One more time, breathing in. You can obviously modify this by bringing the hands further forwards if you need to. Tops of the feet press into the floor and gently come down. That's great. Well done, everybody. Lift up onto your hands and knees. So this is a nice way to transition back up into down dog without the effort of the coming straight up. So now tuck under your toes. Take the bottom backwards towards the heels. Lift the knees off of the floor. Start to get the quads working a little bit more. And then pressing into the mat through the hands, the arms lengthening and lifting the hips, lengthening the spine, letting the head come towards, the chin come towards the chest. Okay, and then looking forwards again, walking the feet all the way up towards the hands. You're in an automatic halfway lift when you get there, and then breathing out, folding forwards. All the way up to stand, breathing in. And breathing out, hands to heart. Very good. So now you're feeling warmer, I would imagine, starting to feel a little bit like stronger, maybe, that you've really got this. And when we work in a really floaty, kind of smooth way, we just have that ability to wake our body up gently. Okay, so let's just add some more things in. Let's breathe in, bring the hands up, reach up, breathe out, gently folding down. Good. Halfway lift, breathe in, hands to shins, long arms, lift the chest. Breathe out to fold back down, chin towards the chest. Okay, let's step back, please, into a downward dog. Okay, so when we step back, we kind of lose the emphasis on the arms, I find. So I want you to really press the arms into the floor, pushing through the palms, getting the shoulders even more open. And then I want you to take your right foot upwards towards the sky. Take a breath here, breathe in. As you breathe out, bend the knee and bring it underneath you and curl your nose towards your knee. Breathe in, take the foot all the way back up to the sky. As you breathe out, bring the knee to the right elbow. See if you can go further forwards. Breathe in, take the foot all of the way back up. As you breathe out to left elbow. And then breathe in. Stretch the leg up. As you breathe out, step the foot all the way forwards to the top of your mat. If you need to put your left knee onto the ground, please do. Left hand can stay on the floor. Make sure the right knee is above your ankle. Turn to the right. The hand can rest on the back of your body. You want to feel a stretch here in your right glutes. You can take your right hand up to the ceiling. You can move more deeply into a rotation. The more you turn your torso, the more you're going to get a nice stretch into those big thigh muscles. Good job. And then breathe in. As you breathe out, lower the right hand to the floor. And I know you're in a very, very long position, but I want you to work at straightening your front leg. Don't worry about putting your left heel on the ground. This is not a proper pyramid pose. So just have a stretch and lower your upper body a little bit closer towards your front thigh. Then come forwards again, and I want you to bend the left knee and just tap it to the floor, and then straighten the leg back out again. Bending the knee, tapping it down, and stretching it back. One more time, tap it down, and then leave it down. Lift yourself up. Make sure that there's a decent enough length between the knee and the front foot, and then breathe in. Bring the arms up, and find those cactus arms. Spread the fingers, take the elbows backwards slightly, puff your chest up forwards. You can keep your chin to your chest. Okay, and then bring the hands together in front of your heart and lean forward slightly. I want you to turn to the right and tuck your left elbow, if you can, to the outside of your right knee. If it doesn't quite get there, hands can be held in this position instead. So you're twisting around to the right, maybe you're looking behind you. And those that want to can tuck under their left toes and send the left heel back, but keep turning. So use your elbow against the knee to give you that extra rotation. Very nice. Breathe. Good job. And then gently come back. Lay the fingertips onto the floor and drop the left knee gently down again. Breathe in, come all of the way up. Send the pelvis forwards. Keep the tailbone lengthening down, lift the chest. Good job. Release the hands. Bring them behind your back body if you can. Roll the shoulders back. You don't have to lift the hands off the front body, but do keep the heads of the shoulders rolling forwards if you can. And if you want to, you can lift your hands away from your front body, sorry, back body. But don't do this to the detriment of your shoulders. Breathe in. And as you breathe out, gently release. Bring your fingertips onto the floor as your front leg's starting to talk to you. So take your left knee off the ground, step back into a plank position. You have the option to come into child's pose, so knees down, bottom to heels, or you can come on a vinyasa with me. So you can either do knees, chin, chest to the ground, and then come into cobra that we did before, or you can come into chaturanga, and then into an upward dog. Upward dog is different, it's straight arms, chest forwards, firm legs. Then we're going to meet in downward dog. So can everybody come to downward dog now? That's great, everyone. Well done. Pressing into the palms, just catching your breath, lengthening, extending the shoulders. This is really important in your downward dog. It's not about getting your heart necessarily towards your knees, but it's about keeping all that lovely length and the pressing action into the palms. Okay, left foot. Let's take it up to the ceiling. Breathe in. As you breathe out, knee to nose. Breathe in, extend the left leg up high. Breathe out, bring the elbow to the left, sorry, the knee to the left elbow. I can never do that right. Breathe in, bring the foot up. And breathe out, knee to right elbow. Good. Breathe in, stretch back. Step the foot forwards. Good job. Okay, so we're going to keep the right hand on the floor. Maybe turn the fingertips out. You can put the right knee on the ground if you want to, but I'd recommend keeping it away. You're going to turn to the left. And maybe the left hand lifts. Remember, you're looking to spin the rib cage. So the more rotation you get in the rib cage, the better that glute stretch is going to be in the left thigh. That's lovely, everyone. Well done. Okay, breathe in. As you breathe out, come back to the center. And I've got my fingertips on the floor now. You can always walk your hands further back, but you are looking to lean the hips back and straighten the right leg. And it might be that you want to lower your upper body closer to the leg to get you a bigger stretch. All right, lift up a little bit. I want you to gently drop your right knee and tap it, and then stretch the heel back. Tap the knee down and stretch it back. One more time, tap the knee down and then leave it there. How lovely. Breathe in, bring the hands up, all the way up. Cactus arms, spread your fingers, puff your chest out, keep your chin in, tailbone points down. Nice. And then bring hands to your heart. You're turning to the left this time. Right elbow comes to the outside of the left thigh. Spin to the side, and if you can, send the right heel back to lift the knee off of the floor. It is optional, you don't have to, you can keep the knee down. Okay, breathe in, breathe out. And then as you inhale, come back to the center. Fingertips on the floor, drop the knee. Breathe in, lift the hands up, all the way up. Hands come behind. If you need to bow out and come into child's pose without doing this one, if you're leaving your shoulders out, you can always rest in dog pose or child's pose. So chest up, chin in, shoulders forwards a little bit, arms long. Good. And then releasing. Hands come back to the floor. Lift up, step back into a plank position. And either rest in child's pose or downward dog, or come through a little vinyasa as you come into a back bend. And then we'll meet into downward dog. Excellent. Okay, press into the palms this one last time. And then let's float the knees down onto the ground. And untuck your toes and rest into child's pose. And appreciate the breath. When we come into stillness, we get to pay attention to the breath again. Each one unique, each one meaningful. Allow the breath to let the body settle, to relax. Okay. A couple more breaths. Good job. And then what we'll do is we'll stretch the fingertips forwards. Just take your time, really, as though you're like a cat, like an animal, just pouring the fingertips forwards, putting some space in. And then on your inhalation, when it comes, use your thighs, use your core to lift you up, floating effortlessly back to an all fours position. Okay. Well done, everybody. So we're going to tuck the toes under and lift the knees off of the floor. And it doesn't matter where you are on your mat, but I want you to walk your feet out wide to come into a squat position. So if you can, I'd like you to keep your heels onto the ground, having your feet out as wide apart as you need to. If you're struggling with this, then one of these foam blocks is great because you can put your heels onto the corners and come down into a supported squat instead. So use your block or roll up a towel or a blanket. Of course, it's better to have your heels on the floor, but like me, I have to have my feet super wide apart. I wish I could have them narrower. They will get there. They are changing. The more squats that I'm doing, definitely making a difference in my body's strength and openness. Okay, what we are going to do, however, is come from a squat position into a forward fold. If this makes you feel dizzy, please stop. Come into child's pose instead. Okay, so breathing in here. And as you breathe out, fingertips can come onto the floor and you are gently unraveling the backs of the legs and maybe turning the toes to point forwards as you hang down into a forward fold. Then as you breathe in, turn the toes back out again. Drop the bottom back towards the heels, come into a squat. Breathing out, lifting the tailbone, turning the toes forwards, chin to chest. And then breathing in, dropping the bottom down Nice. One more time, coming up into your forward fold position. Pause here, please. Okay, so just for a moment, if you need to take your feet closer together to get a bigger stretch down the back of your legs, please do so. Maybe, if it's comfortable, hold on to the back of the legs somewhere. Give the back of the thighs a hug. See if you can get yourself a little bit closer towards the front of your legs as you keep lifting the sit bones and asking the back of the legs to lengthen and open up. Good. One more breath here. Keep that sense of uniqueness and meaningfulness to the breath. And then lift up a little bit. Walk the feet out wide. Turning the toes, using your support if you need to. Dropping the bottom back down. Keeping as much weight as you can into your heels. Lifting up the chest so you're not collapsing forwards. Keeping the spine as long as you can. Well done. One or two more breaths here. And then, when you're ready, bringing the fingertips to the floor, lifting the heels, bringing the knees down. And you can come and sit into hero pose, Virasana, or modified Virasana, where you sit on your heels or a block. And just have your hands in your lap. If kneeling isn't great for you, then please choose another seated position. And just close your eyes. Relax your jaw and your shoulders. And settle your breath. Okay. All right, so let's release the breathing, open the eyes, release the hands, and come up to a high kneeling position. You'll work towards camel pose, so deeper back bend. If you need to, you can double up the mat a few times to give yourself some extra padding for the knees. Another nice accessory to have is a brick or a block, which you can then put onto your heels to elevate the height that your hands are going to be dropping onto. Okay, this is not a back bend for everybody. If it isn't for you, then my suggestion is that you lay on your front and you practice the cobra or even some upward dogs or variations that you are familiar with, that you feel more comfortable with, or even Shalabhasana is a good one. For camel, for Ustrasana, we're going to tuck all of the toes under, all 10 of them. And we're going to think about putting our thumbs onto the back of the hips. And you're going to really send the front of the hips forwards. So you've got a sense that there's a stretch happening on the front body here. The tailbone must point down. So it's like you're tucking the pelvis under. Lifting up the chest, really lifting the heart up straight to the ceiling. And some of you might like to just do a version of camel pose that looks like this, or you could have your hands forwards and it looks like this. Those that want to, you're going to bring your hands towards your heels. Okay, so you're leaning back and sending the front body forwards. This is what's really important. Really move the front of your hips away from you towards the top of your mat, whatever direction you were facing in. Once you do that, you can then get the lift, and I want you to squeeze your glutes, squeeze your hamstrings, and encourage your heart to lift up and back. Very nice. This is a big, strong back bend. The chin can stay close to the body. I would suggest don't let your head drop back too far. Okay, when you're ready to come out, good job. Just standing upright for a minute or kneeling upright is great. And then you can bring your chin to your chest. You can start to curl your shoulders forwards, and then keeping your navel strong as you come forwards, fingertips onto the floor, and maybe just pad the fingertips forwards as you take a very soft, very gentle cat pose. Okay, so those that want to, we're going to do this again. Remember to modify. If you need to leave it out completely, if you think, well, I've done enough back bends, come into child's pose, please, and let your lower back lengthen out. We're going to start with the toes tucked under. I'm going to keep the firmness of the thighs. So this is really important here. I want you to imagine that you are kind of closing off all of those lower orifices, like your life counts on it. I want you to send the hips forwards, lift the chest up. Legs are working super strong here as you lean back to find your heels with your hands, and then send the hips forwards even more. If you want to untuck your toes to bring the tops of the feet onto the floor, you can do, but just bear in mind this is a big back bend, so take it easy. Good. One more lovely breath here. And then we will gently release, bring chin to chest and slowly start to curl forwards again. Hands can come down to the floor, chin towards the chest. And there's that opportunity for softness. Good, just breathe here, take one more breath. And then I'd like you to untuck your toes, cross your ankles over and come to sit down. So you can unravel your mat. You can sit on something. You can take whatever cross-legged position works for you. I don't mind, okay? Have the one foot in front of the other. We are going to cross the legs both ways. So maybe walk the sit bones back a little bit and just allow yourself to fold forwards. So no big expectation here, no force, no strain, just a soft kind of yielding as you bring your body forwards. And breathe. Okay. On your next inhalation, lift yourself up. Change the cross of your legs. And as you exhale, take your time, but fold yourself back forwards and down. Again, no forcing down, no pressure to come into a certain position, but just letting your body yield itself. Maybe think about your sit bones staying on the ground, staying pressed down equally. Okay, let's inhale to come up. Good, lovely. Bring the legs out straight in front of you. Make sure that you've untucked the flesh of your bottom. If you need to sit on a block or a blanket, please do. You're going to come into Paschimottanasana. You can bend your knees for this if it helps you. Remember, it's the tilt forwards of the pelvis that we're looking for, not a rounding of the back. Breathe in and bring the hands up towards the ceiling. Start with the legs straight, heels away, toes high, balls of the feet pressing forwards. Exhale to lower the hands to shoulder height and reach the fingertips as far forwards as they will go. When you can't go further, when your hips won't tilt anymore, drop the hands down to the feet or the ankles or the legs. Think about the tailbone pointing out behind you. Let your tummy lift and move a little bit further along the front of the legs. And then chin towards the chest. Softness in the shoulders as much as possible, although you might be using your hands to Encourage a bit of length. Please do this without force. Make sure that your breath can be smooth and that you are able to breathe with ease. Those of you with straight legs, please press the backs of the knees down in towards the ground so that you get a bigger stretch for the leg muscles. Those of you with back issues, keep the knees a little bit bent, please. Good job. Well done, everyone. Let's take one more breath here. That lovely sense of the meaningfulness, the uniqueness of the breath. Okay, so on your inhalation, when it comes, lift yourself up. And from Dandasana, bring the hands to the floor behind you, please, and roll the shoulders towards one another as you puff up the chest and lift the front of the heart again. And this might be where you want to stay. Manage your own wrists, please. So you might want to roll up the mat from behind you and give the heel of the hand something to be elevated on. It really does make a difference to the wrists. You can also practice this with the hands pointing backwards. We're going to do that in a minute anyway. So I want you to look at where your knees are. Bend your knees and bring your feet to where your knees were. And you can adjust where your hands are in space behind you, but keep lifting the chest, arms nice and strong. And it might be that you just stay here. If you can come up into a tabletop and lift the front of the hips up strongly towards the ceiling. Remember, we talked about this the other day as part of the Magic 10, including downward dog, including the squats, including the forward folds, including the twists. So basically just using all the different major parts of the body to build strength and stamina. Good. Take one more breath here and then gently come down. That's really nice. It does get easier with practice. Now turn the fingers out behind you if you can. And we're going to come into sort of a variation on rock star. It's a little bit like a bow pose, a little bit like a wheel. But what we're getting, and you can play with your hand position if you want to. You're going to start by pressing into the heels and lifting one hand off of your hips off of the floor. So just feel how that is for your wrists and make any adjustments that you need to. Okay. Now this time when you lift up, you're going to lift one hand up as well. So as you've got to use your strength, use your core here to do this. So as you breathe in, lift one hand and bring it up, and then gently come back down. Just check out how your shoulders feel about this, okay? So just be mindful, be careful. And other side, so get your body weight, get your momentum, use your strong core, lift yourself up and press into the feet, open the chest and come down. And you're going to go from side to side. So breathe in, lifting up and breathing out to come down. One side might be stronger than the other. Honor that difference. Press into the feet and come down. One more on each side, please. Breathing in, strong arms, feet strong, glutes strong. And come down. Last one, breathe in. Coming up and back down. Good, okay. Just give the wrists a little bit of a shake. Maybe roll the shoulders backwards a few times. Lovely stuff. Okay, so let's keep the right leg bent and straighten out the left leg. Turn a little bit towards your right knee. So it doesn't matter whether you're facing the camera or not. You're going to take a little bit of a side bend now. So maybe bring your elbow, your left elbow onto your knee. Now, in a yin class, we would rest our head in our hands a bit like this. And if you want to go further, you can find your big toe, or you could use a strap to make your leg a little bit easier to reach. The right hand can lift up, and you could just stay here, reaching up, and feel all of that lovely space lengthening into the side of the body. Those that want to could cartwheel all of the way over to find the opposite hand. You're going to breathe here. Keep maintaining a sense that it's a side bend, even though your body wants to fold right forwards into a forward fold. Keep it as a side bend. Let the side of the head fall to the ear, fall towards the shoulder. And that really does make a difference, the position of the head. Lovely. And then gently inhale to release the top arm all the way up and bring it to the floor behind you. And then this is familiar because we did this the other day. So make sure you're on the left-hand side of your mat, and the right hand's on the floor behind you. You're going to lift up, straightening the left leg, lifting the left arm and sending the hips forwards, and then gently coming back down. Do that 2 more times, please. So breathing in, and there's a vitality to this, isn't there? There's a lovely sense of freedom and of carefreeness. One more time, breathing in and breathing out. Good. Okay, come back to face forwards, bring the right knee in, straighten it away. Left knee out wide to the side. I'll turn around so I can keep seeing you. So you're going to turn to face the knee and taking a side bend, so stretching out the left-hand side of the body, maybe reaching down to find the foot, keeping the right leg straight if you can. Left arm can lift upwards towards the ceiling, and it may be that just feels nice. Okay, you want to stay there and really breathe into the left-hand side. You can start to tilt a little bit more, maybe take your arm diagonally out in the air above your head, or you could cartwheel all of the way over. Finding the hand is easy because you can cheat. You can turn your body a little bit into a forward fold to find the opposite hand, and then you work really hard at turning the body back into a side bend. So it's like a little bit of rotation going on. That's great, everyone. Well done. You're going to take one more breath here. In fact, 2 more breaths, I think. 2 more breaths. Go for it. Good job. And then gently, gently release. Cartwheeling the arm and bringing the left hand to the floor behind you, making sure you're over on the right hand side of your mat so there's room for the left knee. And then 3 of these breaths, and you can really work this arm movement to kind of come up and around and opening up, and then gently rolling forwards and all the way back down. Okay, so breathing in, coming all of the way up and breathing out. Lovely stuff. One more time, breathing in and coming back down. Good job. Okay, bring both feet together, soles of the feet together, knees wide, arms nice and long, chin falls towards your chest, and really actively press the knees towards the ground, just with the power of your intention. Take some breaths. Okay, breathing in and coming back upright. And then just taking the left foot, if the left leg can either be straight or it can tuck underneath. And you're going to bring the right foot over the top for Ardha Matsyendrasana. Okay, so remember, left leg can remain straight. You're going to hug the knee with your left arm, or you can take the elbow around to the outside of the knee. The right arms come onto the floor behind you, and you're taking yourself into a seated twist. So remember, you can keep hugging the knee or just have your hand on your knee. The key things here are, can you see my foot is not flat on the floor? So I want you to really press the big toe joint of your right foot into the ground. Now, when you press the big toe joint into the ground, the hip lifts off of the floor. So can you then press the hip and press the big toe into the ground? Okay, so this is key here. This is key to this movement. And this is going to get you that length and the stretch into the glutes on the right leg. Okay, twist is kind of a bonus part. Take another breath here. And then gently come back, breathing in and turning the other way. And coming back to center and unraveling the legs, just giving them a little bit of a shake out. Good. Okay, so same thing other side. You could bring the right leg kind of underneath you and out to the side and cross the left over the top. One side will feel different, will feel easier. So remember the key here, big toe joint onto the ground, sit bone onto the ground. So that's your intention, is to keep that focus. Where you go from here is your choice. And you might find that when you get the twist involved, you can therefore keep the sit bone and the foot a little bit firmer onto the ground. You might find that you start to enjoy the twist and can go a little bit more deeply, but don't force it. Remember to work with the breath. Each breath smooth and steady. Just staying true to your intention for the day, making your practice be one that is going to enliven and nourish. Lovely stuff. One more breath here. And then inhale back to center and out to the other side. Good job. And unravel the legs. Give them a little bit of a shake. Back. Okay, so we're almost done. We're going to come to lay down. We'll do a little bit of bridge pose and a couple of curl ups. If you want a jumper for in a moment, or a blanket or an eye pillow, have those nearby so you don't have to travel too far to go get them. And then when you are ready, come and lay on your back and hug your knees in towards your chest. All right, everyone, well done. So let's start with the knees in towards the chest and just give them a little squeeze and take the nose towards the knees. And then release the head. And pop the feet down, just somewhere gently onto the floor. No great worry about where the feet are. Okay, so because we're going to do some curl ups, if you have anything in your abdomen that you're working to protect, then you're going to not do the curl ups. You're going to instead keep your hands down by your sides, and this is the option instead. You're going to lift your knees and your feet like this and do little leg lifts instead, which are just as valuable. They work the lower part of the abdomen and they're not going to put strains. I'm thinking if you've got a hernia or something like that going on. Those of you that want to are going to take your fingertips to the sides of the head, just behind the ears. And we're going to take a breath in. And as we breathe out, we're curling up, keeping the lower back flat into the floor. Breathing in to come down. Breathing out to curl up. In and out. In and out. Keep going. One more time. And just take a little bit of a rest. Rest the head, rest the neck. Maybe rock the knees from side to side a couple of times. Okay, come back to center. And this time we'll do the bicycle curl up. So you can repeat your knee leg lifts if that's what you're doing. You could work to having straight legs if you want to. Those of us doing the bicycle ones, you're going to pick your feet up off the floor as well, the knees above the hips. Breathe in, and as you breathe out, bring the right elbow to the left knee and stretch the right leg down to the end of the mat. Breathe in, come back to the center, breathe out, stretch the other way. So you're going to go side to side. And it's key, as old Joe Wicks said the other day, that having the foot, the lengthened leg, you've got to really point the toes, really stretch the long leg away to get the key benefit from this. Okay, so keep going. You've got this. You're doing brilliantly. Well done. One more each side. And rest. Ooh, well done. Feet flat on the floor, hands down by your sides. Have your feet, your heels in towards your body. Knees and ankles about hips width apart. Take a breath in. As you breathe out, curl the spine away from the floor, lifting the front of the hips, squeezing the glutes, pressing into the heels, and then gently coming back down. And you can go at your own pace here, so breathing in to come up. Breathing out to come down. Keep going. Some of you might like to come up and stay up. You may like to bring the hands and link them underneath the back body and sort of roll the shoulders towards one another and open the chest a little bit more. However, I don't mind if you're going to float up and down, go for it. Just keep squeezing the glutes, squeeze the hamstrings, and ground the feet into the floor. Okay, see if you can get the hips just a tiny bit higher. Yeah. And then gently come down. Hug your knees in towards your chest. Good. All right, so let's take the feet wide to the outside edges of the mat, arms a little distance away from the side body. You can come into cactus arms if you like, that feels quite nice in this position, depending upon your shoulder mobility, of course. Take a breath in, and as you breathe out, let the knees fall across to one side and turn your head away from the direction of the knees. Breathe in and bring the knees up to the center, and breathe out, turn the head in the other direction. Breathe in and come to center, and breathe out. Into center, out to sides. One more time, each side. All right. And then when you're ready, back to your center position. And you can slide your feet down and away from you to the corner edges of your mat. You can bring your hands wherever you want, maybe to the sides, maybe you could rest your hands on your tummy if you wish. And settle yourself down just for a few moments of stillness. Enjoy these next few breaths as your body arrives in Shavasana. Feel as though you could breathe in so deeply and so easily. There's so much space and freedom within your body. And as you breathe out, there's a sense of complete release. Every exhalation invites more relaxation into your body. And as you notice different areas of your body beginning to let go, if there should be a place in your body that still feels like it's holding on, that it's unable to relax just yet, use your breath, use your intention, and ask it to relax. Enjoy the sound of your breath. Enjoy the complete total relaxation of your body. So much easier to find this level of relaxation after we have worked the body completely in our asana practice. And leave you in silence for the next few minutes. I'll check back in with you when it's time to emerge from Shavasana. Okay, so if you feel that you need some extra time here and feel very free to ignore the end of the class or switch off your video and let yourself continue resting. If you are ready to move on to the next stage in your day, then begin to invite some movement into your fingers and your toes. And turn your head gently from side to side. Take a stretch out any way that feels good. And then you can, when you're ready, start to bend your knees and make your way across to lay on one side. Pausing here, maybe just taking a breath or two. And then you can gently bring yourself up to a comfortable seat. And we'll finish the practice together. So do sit in any position that works best for you. Take your fingertips to the floor. Breathe in and bring your hands up above your head. Palms come together. And then exhale down. And let the hands come to rest, Anjali Mudra, in front of your heart. Drop the chin towards the chest and maybe close the eyes. Breathing gently in and out. Remind yourself of your focus for your practice this morning, of all those things you woke up with, feeling grateful for. Now think about what the rest of the day is about to bring. And let the energy of your yoga practice inform and support and glide you through the remainder of the day. Take another breath in, gently opening your eyes. Well done. Namaste to you all. Lovely stuff. And have a super, super rest of the day.